Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at the SJRC F11 4K Pro drone. This foldable brushless GPS drone has a 4K camera that has a 2-axis gimbal with image stabilization. It has plenty of automated features such as waypoints, follow me, circle me, return to home, gesture control, auto takeoff, auto land, and plenty of others. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this square beige cardboard box, and it has a drawing of the quadcopter there in the front, and it's the SJRC F11 4K Pro, and it has the 2-axis gimbal with image stabilization and 26-minute flight time. At the top it just simply says F11. On the side there are a couple of QR codes, perhaps for the app, and on the side it talks more about the image stabilization. And on the back you could see a folded view of the drone and an unfolded view of the controller. Nothing on the bottom, so let's go ahead and open it up and take a look inside. And as we can see, the main carrying case is inside the box. And so this looks like a very professional carrying case for the quadcopter, and it looks very sturdy and rugged. It has a solid rubberized handle or grip at the top, and it's made out of good solid material. So a very nice carrying case for the drone. And so now let's open the zippers and see what's inside here. Let's check it out. And so inside you can see there's a netted inner pocket. And so let's open that up and see all the accessories in there. Here we have a small box with all the spare propellers. So there's 2 sets of folding spare propellers in there. And now let's take a look here at this other box. There's the instruction manual along with the charge cable and screwdriver in there. And then we have this protective padding here in the front. And so let's move that over to the side. And then you could see the drone and controller packed away all nice and neat in there within their compartments. And you could see the 3 batteries. Since this is the 3 battery set, you can buy this in 1, 2, or 3 batteries. And here's a view of the drone, and it's all folded and compact, and it looks very sleek. And here's its gimbal guard, and down below these circles look like optical flow or ultrasonic sensors, but they're not, and so there are no sensors down below. And now let's remove the gimbal guard here, the plastic gimbal guard. And here you could see the 4K camera that is remote tiltable and has a 2-axis gimbal, and it can tilt 90 degrees downwards. And this is a folding drone, and it's very easy to fold in and out. You would start with the front legs followed by the rear ones. And as you can see, everything just snaps into place securely. And here's how it looks when everything's all expanded out. It looks very sleek, highly resembles a DJI Mavic, and it has this light gray tone to it. So we'll just set it over there. Now looking at the controller, it is pretty unique. It has this folding mount to put your mobile device. And then it has these fold out grips or arms. And down below here we have the micro USB charge port, since this has a built-in 300 milliamp 3.7 volt battery. And then we have these 2 foldable antennas that are probably just for appearance. They don't appear to be valid. And it has a predefined display with a series of icons and messages. So a pretty neat controller. And now looking at the battery, it has an 11.1 volt 2500 milliamp lithium ion battery, and this provides the quadcopter with around a 26-minute flight time, and charges here on the side through a micro USB port. And it is a smart battery in the sense that you can see the level of charge, and you can either activate or shut off the battery by simply keeping the button pressed for a few seconds. And so a very good comprehensive set here with a good case and 3 batteries. And so now let's take a closer look at the drone. So taking a closer look at the drone, This is a very neat looking drone that highly resembles a DJI Mavic or a folding drone of that sort. And here in the front you could see it's a 2-axis 4K camera that remotely tilts. It does have 4K image stabilization, so the resultant video is stabilized as if it were a 3-axis gimbal. Here on the arms you could see it says F11 drone, and it is a light gray drone. Here's the side profile. It's very sleek, and the battery is removable with these buttons here that unlatch, and as you can see it has a pretty big battery bay. And now taking a closer look here at the battery, it's an 11.1 volt 2500 milliamp lithium ion battery, and it does charge on the side here through this micro USB port. And it does take about 4.5 hours to fully charge it. And you can see the level of charge by pressing the button on the battery, and if you keep it pressed for a few seconds you can either turn it on or off, and then it just snaps back into place on the drone. Now this is a brushless motor drone with powerful brushless motors, and down below there is what appears to be ultrasonic sensors and an optical flow sensor, but unfortunately there aren't any sensors on the drone. Those are just for cosmetics, and so no sensors down below. And now looking at the side here of the drone, we have the SD card slot, so it does take an SD card for onboard storage of video footage, which is very good. And also this is a folding drone, and folding it in and out is very simple. You just have to align the propellers and then fold the legs in the corresponding order, and as you can see it folds away in a very compact fashion for storage, and you can put it in the case and take it with you. And here in the back it says F11, so a very sleek compact drone here, and unfolding it is very simple as well. You would just unfold the front legs followed by the rear ones, and so here it is all expanded and folded out. Now there are LED lights on each corner of the drone, so it does have good lighting for orientation. And so if you activate the drone here, you can see the various colors on the LED lights. Right here you have blue, white, even red. So a very bright, colorful drone, and very good for orientation or an early evening flight. So a very well built, well constructed drone with good quality, and very sturdy. And so now let's take a closer look at its transmitter. Now taking a closer look at the controller, this is a very comfortable and compact controller. Down below there are a couple of hand grips, so you can just fold those out and have a better, firmer grip on the controller. And here you could see there's a micro USB charge port, since there is an internal 3.7 volt 300 milliamp lithium ion battery built inside, which provides several hours of control on a full charge. So that's built in, no need for AA batteries or anything like that. And so taking a further look here at the controller, the grips do fold in to compact. And then of course there is a mobile device mount here at the top that does also fold, and it stretches out quite a bit to hold a pretty large cell phone. And as you can see, you could fold it all the way in and it will somewhat protect the screen. And it is an LED screen with some indicators and icons. Also the antennas fold in and out, but those are just for appearance. There is no wiring behind them, and so everything folds back out again. Now looking at the controls a bit, we have the left throttle stick followed by the right rudder stick, and then we have the light speed mode button where you can switch from normal mode, sport mode, or camera mode, where camera mode is the slowest, normal is the intermediate, and then sport mode is the faster mode. Then here's the emergency stop button, and then right over here is the on off button, and then right over here is the return to home button. And if you keep it pressed, you can enable or disable the GPS mode, and so you could fly it manually or you could fly it with GPS lock by simply keeping it pressed and making sure that the GPS mode indicator is activated. Here's the camera button, here's the video button, and then we have two rollers. The one on the left is to zoom in and out if you have the app, and the one on the right will tilt the camera up and down. And so those are the two modes there, and you can see the feedback on the display as certain LED indicators will light up according to the buttons that are pressed. So a very interesting display that shows LED icons and messages and not necessarily telemetry through an LCD screen. So now going over special commands here, if you move both sticks up and out, that'll perform a gyro calibration. If you move them up and towards the center, that'll perform a GPS compass calibration. And if you move them down and towards the center, that'll start the motors in idle so that you can take off. So a very feature-rich, comfortable, compact controller that provides the quadcopter with a 1.5 kilometer range of control. Now let's take a closer look at setting this up for a first-time flight and its app. Now, setting up for a first-time flight is very straightforward. Once you have a fully charged battery inserted into the drone along with an SD card, and have fully charged the transmitter and have placed the mobile device on it, you would proceed to activate the drone by keeping its on-off button on the battery pressed on top here for a few seconds. That should activate the drone. Now press the on-off button on the controller, and it should automatically bind out of the factory. And you should see the lights rapidly blink. Make sure that the drone is on the flat ground level surface and not moving, because it's automatically calibrating the gyros. And if you wanted to manually calibrate the gyros, you would simply move both sticks up and out like so. Just move them up and out and wait a few seconds, and it will also perform a gyro calibration. And if you wanted to perform a GPS compass calibration, you would move both sticks up and towards the center like so, and keep it there for a couple seconds. You should see the lights rapidly blink on the drone like so, and you would just rotate the drone about 3 or 4 spins on its flat horizontal axis clockwise until you see the lights change, and then you'd face the drone upwards and rotate it another 3 or 4 spins clockwise until the remaining lights change as well. Then you'd set the drone down and wait for it to connect to enough satellites to have GPS lock. You could also move both sticks down into the center to start the motors in idle and provide some upwards throttle to take off, or you can use the auto takeoff feature. So at this point, we want to connect to the drone's Wi-Fi and use the app. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Now, once in your mobile device's Wi-Fi settings, you want to look for an entry that says SJ-F-Pro and a serial number, and you'd go ahead and connect to that. And there is no default Wi-Fi password or anything like that, so you'd simply connect to that. And once connected, you'd go ahead and launch this app right here, which is SJF Pro, and it's in both the iOS and Android app stores. So once you launch that app, you'd be greeted with this screen right here that says SJRC. And in this screen, you do have some options and choices. Right here, you can pick the exact quadcopter that you're using, which is the F11 4K Pro. And here you can access the quick start guide, help manuals, and instructional videos. We also have a video edit section right here where you can edit some of the videos you've captured with the drone. Then there's some learn to fly instructional videos, but primarily you want to start here where it says controls. And once you enter there, you should have a live feed with the drone right away, as shown here. And now looking at the live FPV feed here, it's a pretty clear and clean display with very little lag or latency due to the 5G Wi-Fi. The transmission range on this is about 800 meters, so a pretty good range. And as you could see, it's pretty level and stabilized due to the 2-axis gimbal and image stabilization. And now looking at the controls and the app, right here we have the takeoff button, the return to home button. Right here we have our special modes such as follow me, gesture control, waypoints, filters, digital zoom, music video mode, VR mode, so on and so forth. So a lot of interesting modes here. And then up here at the top, we have some telemetry, such as the battery and signal strength of the drone and controller. Here we have some settings, such as enabling or disabling the beginner mode, which will allow you to set some limitations on the maximum height and distance and return to home distance. And so you can either loosen those restrictions or apply them. Here we have the track mode, which is basically a flight log. It tells you stats on your previous flights. Here we have the pitch and roll adjustment, so you can adjust the flight characteristics of the drone, which is very interesting. Here we have some additional settings, such as changing the units, whether they're in metric or imperial. And so a lot of good modes here that can be saved here at the end when you click save here, and they'll apply to the drone right away. And then we could head back to our main FPV view once all the settings have been applied. Here on the right, we have the toggle between photo and video, and then we have our photo gallery and voice control. Down below, we have some additional telemetry, such as the distance, height, vertical and horizontal speeds. And then here we have our map view mode. And once in map view, you can switch between different views, such as satellite view or map. And then you can also apply some waypoints and paths. And so you could have the aircraft fly those paths as well. And so a lot of interesting features within the app, very clear and intuitive. So a great stable app to handle the recording of footage with the drone. And speaking of footage, this takes very good, clear, stabilized footage with the combination of 2-axis gimbal and 4K image stabilization. It has a brushless gimbal with brushless motors that are very powerful. This is a very sporty flyer, very smooth flyer, and it comes with a great package with a lot of features at a very affordable cost. So let's take it up for a flight and see how it performs.